Hello and welcome back to another Thinking Blank video. I hope you're uncomfortable. That's right, I just said, I hope you're uncomfortable. It's really important, and I've discovered recently that it's really important to be uncomfortable or to put yourself in an uncomfortable position. And the reason I say that is because I have recently changed jobs. It's taken me years and years to finally do it, but I've been thinking about it for years. But the reason I never changed my job wasn't because I didn't need to. It wasn't because I didn't want it very much. It was just that I was really comfortable. I had everything that I needed. And when you have your needs met, you don't really have the motivation to go out and do the things that you actually do need and want. So the main example right here is that even though I knew I should probably choose a different job, or that, the job that I was in at the time wasn't going to, there wasn't really much of a ladder there for me to climb, and so I was just going to be stuck in the same thing. In fact, if anything, it was just kind of starting to stagnate. If you want to maintain a steady pace, you actually have to continue making progress. And it sounds kind of strange. Usually you'd think, okay, I just get to a high level, like I become a doctor, and then I just do doctor work for a really long time. But I feel like what actually happens in almost every job is that you get to the position, and then in order to stay at a steady pace instead of tailing off and starting to make less money, or actually just go down in value in general, you just have to be constantly making progress. So even though you're constantly developing, learning, getting better at your craft and becoming more efficient at what you do, you don't actually always go up in level. You actually just kind of stay on the same plane. So what was important to me was to stay on the same plane, and I thought that staying at my old job, I was staying at the same level. But what actually was happening was that I was doing the same job over and over and over again for years and years. And what happened was I wasn't staying at a steady pace. I was just stagnating. My skills were going down. Everyone else was racing ahead of me. I wasn't competitive anymore. It's not just a business thing or a job thing. I think just as humans, in order to stay at a steady pace, we need to make constant progress, constantly better ourselves, constantly eat healthier, do more exercise, find ways to be more efficient, find more ways to increase the number of skills that we have, increase the number of hobbies we have. You often hear that people stave off or try to stave off dementia later in life by, after they retire, learning a new language. They have to activate new parts of the brain, parts that they haven't been using for a long time, in order to maintain a level mental state. And I think the main thing that I found, which was important in order for me to start making progress again and maintain my level pace of life, was to make myself uncomfortable. Now, I'm actually going to use a quote which I don't think is actually directly relevant here, but it is kind of relevant. I've been reading a book lately for the second time, actually. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's like a #1 bestseller. Everyone on earth has read it. But one of the interesting quotes in there, he says, "Satisfied needs do not motivate." Like mind blown moment. Because of course, I think a lot of us intuitively we know that, but we don't say it to ourselves because we don't want to hear it. We would like to stay comfortable. I'd like to stay at my normal office doing my normal job. I don't want any risks. I don't want any sudden changes. I don't want to suddenly not be able to pay off my car loan or my house loan or my apartment bills or my water bills and electricity bills. We've got so much going on in life that every time there's a change, it kind of sets off chain reactions and makes all sorts of other things start to fall apart. But on the flip side, if you try to just keep everything the same and not change, then I think it can have the same effect. Things start to stagnate, things start to fall apart, your relationships could fall apart, you might start falling behind on your bills, other people are becoming more competitive than you at your job, and so they're going to start getting jobs that people used to hand over to you, and so now you're getting less business coming in. Like I said at the start of the video, you were trying to maintain your steady pace, but what actually happened is you started to tail off and devalue. When I changed to my new job, I had to really struggle to understand what was going on in the new company. And in some ways, I think the pay was a little better, but that wasn't the main reason to change jobs. The main reason to change jobs for me was to just not be doing the job that I had been doing before, because the job I was doing before had no ladder. I wouldn't even really call it a career. I was just doing the job that they were paying me to do. In the new job, I had to take on new responsibilities, and even if there's no specific career ladder in the job that I'm doing now, at least I've changed. And I think that it's important to change jobs periodically so that you are making progress as a person. Even if within the company, there's no specific career ladder for you, in your personal journey, you're like, okay, now I've been a builder, and now I'm going on to be a planner, and now I'm going on to create my own company that finances the building of other people's homes. You don't have to do these things, but I feel like in our minds, we're trying to maintain that steady pace. And I think to actually maintain it, we actually need to constantly build and constantly progress. And so this phrase in this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, just heard it and I was like, it sucks, but it's so true. Satisfied needs do not motivate. And when I'm comfortable, like in my current job at the time, I was thinking to myself, in my current job, I have everything that I need. And really, I don't want to rock the boat. It's scary. The risk that everything is going to change. And if a few things change, all the other things are going to change. It is a frightening thing to think about. But having changed jobs now, and even though it's really hard and I'm still totally not used to it, I'm like the happiest I've been in years because I'm actually motivated to get better. Every time I'm faced with a challenge at work, I'm like, I have no idea how to do this thing. I'm going to have to ask someone to do it. I then get the experience of learning something new. It might not even be something that I particularly want to do, but it's something that you stop doing constantly when you become an adult. When you're a school kid, just by default, your curriculum is set for you by the teachers, by your parents, by the school. They're making sure that you're constantly making progress. Just because there's a time limit, by the time you hit 16 or 18, you need to know a certain number of things if you want to survive in society and get yourself a job and be a member of society. But when you're an adult, once you've got your job, there's not a lot of pressure on you externally to actually continue making progress. And so a lot of people think, I'm doing fine, I'm just going to coast along at my normal level. But then eventually things just start to fall apart. I'm not saying that my life was falling apart, but I had obviously lost motivation. I definitely feel like with my YouTube strategy, I've got obviously the main Nihongo Gamer channel. I've got this channel. Now I've got a drawing channel as well. I've got my clips channel. I'm starting up live streams on my channel again. And I'm going to go into making highlight videos and shorts videos. I've got so many ideas. And all of this is being catalyzed by the big change in my life, which was obviously a couple of years ago. I had a massive change in my life having a kid. But recently, in the past couple months, the big change was getting a new job. Yes, it's hard. It's much harder than if I had just stayed in my old job and just did, what I was always doing over and over and over again. But it was starting to get dull. And in order to maintain my normal pace of life, I really did have to make a change that made me uncomfortable. I'm like happy to be uncomfortable to the point that it's quite addictive. Yes, you start wanting to put yourself in more uncomfortable positions. It reminds me of that YouTube channel. I can't remember what his name is. It's like Mark Ron or Mark Rogers. I can't remember exactly what his name is. There's a guy who just goes out and learns anything and everything. He's like, okay, how long does it take to learn how to skateboard. It's an addictive thing, putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, a position of, I can't do this. No one likes that. That's why once we finally get a job or we finally get into a relationship, we're just like, don't want anything to change. And when things do change, it's like you have a breakup or you lose your job or you discover that you're bored of your current job. It's like, I don't want things to change, but things need to change. And you avoid change at all costs because it makes you feel uncomfortable, and no one likes to feel uncomfortable. But once you've done it, you start to realize that making yourself feel uncomfortable is the key. It's often the signifier that lets you know that you're about to go into a situation which is going to make your life better, or you're just going to feel satisfied because you learned something new. That is all for today's video. I think this is a much deeper topic, and I would love to cover it again in the future, but it's been on my mind for the past couple of weeks, and I keep thinking this is the next video I want to do for Thinking Blank. And even though I don't have the ideas fully fleshed out, I was like, well, I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to tackle it as a video anyway. In fact, it made me kind of uncomfortable knowing that I would have to tackle the video even though I'm not ready. And this is what happens with a lot of other videos. It's like, the only reason I have like 1,000 videos on my main channel is because every single time I needed to make those videos, I thought, okay, I'm not ready, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And that's like probably one of the best pieces of advice I can give to anyone who's making a YouTube channel. You're never going to feel 100% ready. In fact, the more you learn about your topic, the more you're gonna realize you don't know. And then you feel even less confident about making the video, which is why whether you're ready for it or not, you should just make the video now. And then if you learn more about it, make another video, make an update video, make a new channel, eventually reinvent yourself. The takeaway is make yourself uncomfortable. Satisfied needs do not motivate. Listen, if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're going to enjoy plenty of other videos on this channel. Check it out right here. There's a link to the next video you should definitely watch. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. Leave a comment, like the video, and hey, why not check out one of the other Nihongo Gamer video channels? They're in the description box below. See you next time.